Well, a 20-year-old Canadian woman found herself on the wrong side of the law last Wednesday when she posted a picture on Instagram of some graffiti art that she passed while walking. Police showed up at the doorstep of Montreal resident Jennifer Pollock with an arrest warrant in hand after she posted this picture. This is a depiction of Police Commander Ian Lafreniere with a bullet in his head. He is the head of the communications division at the police department. Now, keep in mind, Jennifer Pollock did not actually create this art. She simply posted a picture of it. And as a result, she now has an April 17th trial date and has been issued a restraining order that forces her to stay away from the commander as well as the main police headquarters. Also in the news last week, nearly 300 protesters were arrested and fined for over $600 for not providing the police with an itinerary of their protest. By law, P6 made these fines possible, but now city lawmakers are looking at repealing this measure. For more, I'm joined by criminal defense attorney Eric Sutton. Eric, let's begin by talking about this young woman who was arrested. Is it really illegal to post a picture online?
Well, that'll be determined if the case goes to trial. I was quite surprised to hear that she was arrested, and she's actually charged with harassment. Specifically, she would have allegedly engaged in conduct that would make this officer fear for his safety. We'll see if the case goes to trial. I'm not convinced the prosecution, once they really think about this case, will necessarily want to take it to trial. But it seems to me very dubious, and I felt the police were really just trying to send a message to the public, really to intimidate the public to ensure that they don't do anything that might tarnish their image. Because I have doubts that this officer really feared for his safety. I'm not sure if he was simply pressured into pursuing this by way of a criminal prosecution.
And you are not the only one that has expressed this kind of doubt over the charge of harassment. Now, Jennifer Pollock says she shouldn't have been arrested for this at all. I want to play a recent part of an interview that she did with CBC News.
I think it's a little severe because of a picture I took, she says. I believe the person that created the graffiti should be in my place, though it's not like I wanted to get the artist in trouble. I took a picture because I thought it was well done, but it's me that's stuck with being arrested.
So let me ask you this. When does art go too far to the point where you can actually be arrested for it because it is considered a threat?
Well, look, first of all, let me say that, you know, I'm somewhat sympathetic to the officer. It's a rather tasteless picture. I mean, this man, he's really just a spokesman for the police, and there's a picture of him, a graffiti with a bullet in his head and blood coming out of his forehead. I mean, I understand that it's distasteful. I don't think it's really a criminal act, but right to express themselves, much like in the United States, we have the same protections you have in the United States, but there's limits on that. If you express yourself in a way where your conduct becomes criminal, that's where the line is drawn, and that's where the question in this case arises: has she crossed that line? I'm not persuaded she has, and the battle will in fact be between what is freedom of expression and when does freedom of expression go too far and cause an individual to feel he's a victim of a crime or the subject of threatening conduct or harassment. That is the issue.
And like you mentioned, I mean, obviously this could be taken very seriously. It is a police officer with a bullet in his head. The police also said that this was not the only reason that they had for arresting her, but they declined to comment on the other reasons. Now, this young woman was a part of the mass student demonstrations that happened a little bit ago. She was arrested then as well. Could that play into it?
Well, she may have a profile with the police. I really don't think her presence at previous demonstrations should influence the police in any way. She has the right to demonstrate. Some people were arrested. Some were given what we call tickets. They're not really arrested criminally, but they have to pay fines. I don't think that there should be any presumption on the part of the police that the people who participate in these demonstrations. The students have been very active for the past year in Montreal, demonstrating very vigorously, complaining about student fees and fee hikes and other issues that they feel they're entitled to. But I don't think that they should be profiled in such a way that they would be seen as more threatening because of subsequent conduct they might be involved in, as opposed to someone who may not have participated in the demonstration. So I really don't know what the police have up their sleeve, but I hope if they have something that it's more than the fact that she merely participated in student demonstrations.
And I want to shift the conversation just a little bit to talk about the P6 bylaw that I actually spoke about a little bit earlier. It forces protesters to submit an itinerary to police before the march begins, and it bans people from wearing masks. And now, obviously, this law isn't new. It was made back in 2001, but the new measures were added last year. Is this, in your opinion, an infringement on Canadians' constitutional rights?
Well, it's hard for me to really take a position without having seriously studied the issue. The issue of wearing a mask has resonated with some people. There are a lot of people who feel that that's not an unfair imposition on demonstrators, that their faces should be revealed. There's been almost a comical arrest of someone who's wearing a panda bear costume. And he was arrested as having violated the bylaw, and the police looked very foolish. So, that's debatable. The issue of an itinerary is not unheard of. There are many major metropolitan areas that insist that demonstrators provide an itinerary. Otherwise, the demonstration can become quite chaotic and can paralyze a downtown core. That hasn't really happened. For the most part, the demonstrations have been reasonably peaceful, loud, and perhaps a bit cumbersome for the public, but I haven't noticed that there was any need to insist that they provide an itinerary. And if there isn't a good basis for it, it could well violate their constitutional right to peaceful assembly and the right to express themselves publicly.
And we do know that both of Montreal's main opposition groups have agreed that they say that this law infringes on people's right to assembly. Over 700 people have been arrested. That case against the bylaw is actually up for debate on April 22nd. Criminal defense attorney Eric Sutton, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.